They literally build a list and then for like a year, don't send a single email to the list. They don't have a constant, dedicated, disciplined routine around sending an email to their subscribers. And that's probably costing them a lot of money. So you need to be emailing your list every single day, and you need to have a reason to email them every single day. Now, another thing that I would highly recommend is that you don't just build a list, but also build a buyer list. You should segment and separate people who opted in but did not claim a phone call and people who opted in and claim a phone call, because those who claim the phone call are much more responsive and therefore most likely will convert better for you when it comes to sales.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of our Spotlight Sessions. I'm your host JB, and joining me today is Igor Kheifets. He's an email marketing professional who's been transforming the digital way that people communicate with their lists and get to know their subscribers. If you haven't had a chance to meet Igor yet, he's an Amazon best-selling author of List Building Lifestyle, The Confessions of an Email Millionaire, and the architect of the revolutionary e-farming system. As one of the world's highest paid email marketers, Igor is here to unlock 3 game-changing secrets that can help you skyrocket your business using high level and helping your customers do the same. We've put together an episode called Unlocking the Hidden Profits in Your Email List. And Igor and I have come to the agreement that we need to highlight 3 important parts for you to take away by the time you get done with this episode. The first one is the hidden goldmine of list building. The second one is the breaking the friend zone, turning those subscribers into raving fans. And the third one is Irresistible Offers 101, crafting those hooks that your audience can't resist. Look, whether you're just starting out or you've been a seasoned pro within the high-level community, Igor's going to give us some insights here that are about to take your marketing game to a whole new level because you're listening in and ready to take action. So let's get ready for a mind-expanding session with the man who's been dubbed as the go-to authority of building large, responsive email lists at lightning speed, Igor Kheifets. Welcome, man. It's great to finally have you on.
Thanks, JB. It's appreciate such an amazing introduction. It's a pleasure to be here.
That's what we do at High Level, man. We want to make sure our guests feel good, that our audience understands that we're bringing on people to help them grow their business. And although some of them may know you already, there's a lot because we're always growing that just haven't had a chance to meet you. On that note, could you share a little bit about who you are, what inspired you to get into business, but also why did you feel that it was a good fit to jump on our podcast?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you guys have been taking the industry by storm and kind of leaving everyone in the dust. What I really appreciate about what you guys do, you actually help and promote the idea that everybody should be building an email list, which is not the most popular message out there, even though pound for pound, dollar for dollar, email is where most sales come from online. I actually got into the business of email through a journey, if you will, of trying to build an affiliate marketing business out of all things. I graduated the Israeli Air Force Academy, and I pretty much realized that I don't want to be in the Air Force because of the bureaucracy, because I just didn't see myself in it. And when I read Robert Kiyosaki's Rich Dad Poor Dad, I realized that I want to be an entrepreneur. However, having no money, no business ideas or nothing, and my heart wasn't really into real estate and still isn't, the book recommended that for someone like me, I should do network marketing. Now, we've all been there. I'm sure at one point or another, we've all pushed some pyramid scheme. I really didn't even have a clue what it is. So I got involved. I was really excited. The idea of like, I bring 3 people and they bring 3 people. And before you know it, it's a passive income party and everyone's having a good time. And we're drinking lotions and potions and stuff. Unfortunately, that didn't pan out. I didn't recruit 3 people. I barely got 2, one of which was my best friend. The other one was my mom. And my best friend quit the next day. My mom didn't even know she signed up because I just took her credit card and signed her up under myself. So that was a big disaster, but it on my way learning how to promote the network marketing business, I've insisted um, to do it online. I've insisted on only doing online marketing because I was terrified of talking to people. I was allergic to a commute because I spent years and years commuting to the Air Force Academy. I spent more time on buses and highways than, I mean, than an 18-wheeler driver, you know? And then that was before I turned 20. So I was like allergic to a commute. And I was living in a small town where jobs were scarce. There was basically no economy. I mean, there was like one grocery store, one shoe shop, one diner, one of everything. You know what I mean? Like one hardware store and everything. So there wasn't very much to do or to grow anything. So I turned online and I've done the network marketing, but network marketing didn't pan out. But it's on my way. I've started observing different people who were doing well with network marketing, and typically they had email lists. Guys like Jonathan Budd, guys like Mike Dillard, guys like what's his name? The guy who used to be very popular but not anymore. Um, Big dude used to run the CPA network. I blanking on
We'll
his
come
name.
back to him. So everyone will
Yes,
wonder if they fit that criteria. Is he trying to tell them about me? So we'll leave that as the unknown.
yeah. The difference is that he used to hold lots of checks in his hand. Like he had this iconic ad. He would like be holding like a big, you know, tons of checks like this. Anyway, so so on my way, I'm learning that building an email list is very important, and then I'm also realizing that I don't like network marketing because you have to talk to people. You've got to convince them it's not a pyramid scheme. And I just didn't like the experience. However, it is also in the process of becoming a network marketer. I kind of stumbled into affiliate marketing because I would buy different things for network marketing, like software and training and all kinds of stuff. And I would naturally get exposed to people pushing their affiliate link, offering bonuses, rebates, and overall just recommending stuff off of blogs and stuff like that. And I really liked that. The idea that I could just put up a link. If somebody wants to click and buy the product, they get a commission. If they don't, they don't. No hard feelings. And it was that was my breakthrough. It was the combination of email marketing and affiliate marketing together that put me on the map, got me my first full-time paycheck, allowed me to quit my day job, allowed me to pretty much just become what I became today.
Awesome.
And
Do you mind? Do you mind sharing a little bit? Because you're definitely very passionate about what you do. You share that story as it is a big part of your foundation, and I believe foundation is what keeps us hungry. Do you mind sharing a little bit more about your why? Is it what keeps you going with this always ever evolving business that we're in, the competition, but also the defense, the offense. Like we're like squirrels sometimes in this industry. What's your why? If you don't mind sharing. If
my why can be summed up into I have this T-shirt and I wish I wore it today. Basically, it's an image of a bear chasing some guy, and beneath it says motivation. I'm just very good at scaring myself into doing things. And once upon a time, I've really kind of internalized the message that I am poor, but I hated it. You see, what happened was I was born in Ukraine, and in Ukraine, it's like a whole ecosystem of its own. People do business differently over there. And my dad, he borrowed $10,000 from a local mobster, Nikolai Makarenko, that went by the nickname Makar. And he basically invested it into a farm, also known as kolkhoz. If you've ever studied the Soviet Union, you probably heard the word. Basically, state-owned farm. Him and a few of his buddies each kind of chipped in 10 grand, which for Ukraine is a lot of money, even today. But this we're talking more than 20 years ago. And they wanted to grow produce and sell it to businesses and grocery stores. However, The CEO of the farm had a different plan. He figured it'd be much better if he spent all the money on gambling and hookers, which he did. And basically, that was the end of it. They caught the guy, they beat the crap out of him, but they couldn't get the money back. They sold off parts of the kolkhoz, but still not enough to pay my car. So my family, well, my dad ends up selling the car and selling the apartment we had, and with whatever was left, which was roughly $1,000, and about 12 these big bags of stuff. We're talking like all the clothes we've had, dishes. I mean, whatever we could pack in a bag, we took it, and my family immigrated to Israel because we're Jewish, and we found a loophole, and we were able to get the Israeli residency and then citizenship. And what happened next kind of sucked because within about 6 months of moving to Israel, my dad suffered a not really heart attack, but it was like an issue with his heart, and the doctors rushed him into a double bypass. That rendered him unable to work for many, many years, and kind of like trying to qualify for different subsidies and different social security programs unsuccessfully. It took about 10 years to actually qualify for disability. But in those 10 years, we either lived off of one income, so my mom would go to work at a factory or something, or no income at all, which means we would be subsidized by credit cards and my grandma, God rest her soul. So in those 10 years, I've pretty much lived in poverty. From the age of about 12 until the age of about 19, I was extremely poor. I couldn't afford, first off, we never went on any vacations, ever. Not even, we didn't even drive to vacations, like let alone fly somewhere. We always lived in, the bank account was always in overdraft, like constantly, to a point until it reached, I think, something like 30,000 shekels, which is like $10,000 in overdraft at one point. It was very common for me to go with my dad and scout dumpsters for furniture, devices, anything, because in Israel, there's a culture of throwing stuff out rather than fixing it. So, you could find like a perfectly good couch sometimes. You just had to carry it home. So all kinds of stories like that. And I've internalized that being poor sucks. And I just didn't want to be poor, like ever. And so for me, finding a way to be my own boss was critical, which is why I spent the first 3.5 years unsuccessfully trying to do that until I finally made some money. But what keeps me going, I think, is exactly the same thing. And this is something I've talked at length about with my mentor. And I told him that I can't switch off this mechanism that is in constant survival mode, that just, doesn't matter how much money I made last month. I'm like, every month I'm like starting over from zero. And I'm chasing that fear away by earning money. Now, unfortunately, this makes me good at making money, like actively making it, but it makes me terrible at investing it because I like the long-term strategic thinking to do that. Which is why I put it all in crypto and lost it. No, I'm just kidding. I only lost it. But, but it's like it.
But I will say this, Igor. You know, there are people that have that similar story some way, shape, or form. But I think it's important that people understand the human element of who you are, what you do, and why you do it. Because without that, then this is just another quick idea on how to either use your resources well or stay busy without focusing on the true problem in your business. So if it's okay with you, I want to unlock some of these so that we discussed that one prior to jumping on here and give our audience the opportunity to engage with us below, whether they're new customers or on a trial with us, or they're seasoned or expert customers of ours that just kind of engage and observe, from the distance. And again, the title of our episode here, if you're just tuning in, it's Unlocking Hidden Profits in Your Email List. And we put 3 topics together that we're going to discuss here: the hidden goldmine of list building, breaking the friend zone, and irresistible offers. Let's dive into the hidden goldmine of list building. Igor, in a world of people whether it's being told to promote their business on social media, being told that you need to make content on social media, that's the number one source. I know you have the opposite thinking based on your results and what you've taught others. Could you go a little bit in depth on the social media component with the list building and how you should really look at this moving forward?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, human beings are funny creatures because we tend to focus and understand only the things that we see with our own eyes. Like one of the reasons why people love investing in real estate and not necessarily, for example, crypto or stocks or other things is because they can see the real estate. Like if I'm investing in a house, it's like right there, right? If I'm buying a piece of land, it's like right here. I can touch it. So people feel safer. People feel like they understand it better. Therefore, they kind of put more attention and emphasis and value on something they can see. Well, I think that's the effect we're seeing with social media, where, social media is just easy to access. Everyone's visible on it. And when we see someone being active on social media, we automatically assume they're making money. However, if you've ever read the book Get Rich or Lie Trying, you might conclude different. That's a really cool book that kind of exposes a lot of what's going on behind the scenes at social media, especially in the influencer community, kind of exposing like the nitty gritty of what they truly earn and how they truly earn and how much they lie about it too. We will not get into detail about that. You can check that out on your own time. However, we do always fall into the fallacy thinking that if Grant Cardone is posting on social media, he must be making his money off of social media. Well, I assure you, if we were to take virtually anyone who's making any real money online, who is active on social media, we were to figure out where they get their coffee, which Starbucks they get their coffee at. We were to scout them out and, ambush them with a van wearing a ski mask and take them to a dark room and point a light at them and a gun and demand they give us their accounting login details. We would see that the vast majority of their revenue actually comes from email. It usually does. In 9 times out of 10, it usually does. And social media is almost like a visibility play that everyone thinks they need to be doing, but in reality, even if they do it, it's just something that takes a lot of time to do and a lot of energy and effort. But at the end of the day, the revenue, the profits, and the sales come from email because, and we've talked about this, before we went live. Um, we don't really go on social media to make decisions. And when it comes to buying things, decisions are important because unless I decide to buy something, decide to pull my credit card out and swipe it, I'm not going to buy it. So, but social media is a place where we go to escape decision making. It's a place where we go where we don't feel like working, when we don't feel like thinking. It's a place we go to zone out. It's the new TV, so to speak. When a construction worker comes back from work, it's 5 p.m. He sits down on the couch, the typical Al Bundy, right? He just kind of turns on the TV and he's like, just leave me alone, right? He doesn't want to talk to anybody. He wants to just zone out and kind of veg out. Well, that's what social media is all about. Only it also gives us the ability to go shout nonsense at other people and express our negative opinions without any consequence. That's a different, reason why I don't like going there. But when it comes to actually making decisions and anything in your life that requires a decision, anything in life that's serious, that's business, that's somehow going to affect your life, usually it goes straight to your email inbox. I mean, if you think about it, if you are renewing your visa or passport, you'll get an email about it. If you're buying something on Amazon, you'll get both your receipt and shipping notification on email. If you want to ask for a refund on Amazon, they're going to send you an email with the label that you need to print out. They're not going to send it to your Instagram. They're not going to, tell you, go check it out on the TikTok channel. No, they're going to email it to you because that's the guaranteed way it's going to get to you. If you're buying real estate, selling real estate, renting real estate, guess what? The contract will come in the email. If you are setting an appointment with somebody, maybe with your child's school principal, it's going to happen over email. I mean, there might be a phone involved too, but it's usually going to involve email. Anything that's official, anything that's business, anything that's transactional usually will involve your inbox. And that's just the way we operate in the world. So when it comes to buying and selling, when it comes to your business, even if you do social media, I believe you should gear everything towards building an email list, because the moment you have your customer's email address, it's like you have the permission to enter their personal universe, if you will. And you can go there every day and get in front of them. We'll talk about the frequency of how often you should mail, by the way. And it's probably going to be a little bit controversial, but if I have an email address of somebody that I can convert into a customer, I'm going to do my utmost best to appear in that universe every single day. I'll make sure I have a reason to be there, but I'll be there every single day, pushing them to a sale.
I really appreciate you going in depth around the why and the how of how social media has been become the distraction, right? For marketers, it's almost like the magic trick, right? Like this is part of the illusion, and the real magic trick is in the function and the mechanics that you don't see with the naked eye. And I really appreciate, because I never looked at it like that, to be honest with you, Igor. I always looked at it as, and again, I've never really been part of any affiliate marketing. I've never been really a part of any network marketing. I just didn't catch my eye. I mean, I used to be on AOL back in the day. I would go into MIRC, ICQ. I would, all those things, but I would never
Dude, you are
get.
old.
I am, I am, and there's a benefit, right? This is like when Wares or Juarez, whatever you want to call it, first came out, right? Those were the early stages in their like this early 2000s, right? But I never looked at it this way, man. And the way you describe it is truly a gold mine. And if you're not digging for it, you're not going to know the real benefit of list building. So I want to just pivot here a little bit, and this will lead up into the frequency. In today, there are, depending if you're, targeting corporate clients, consumer clients, other marketers, so on and so forth. Could you give us the general best practice, if possible, of list building 101 in today's social media economy, right? How we interact.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll do my best, as it's a vast topic, but one
It
thing I'll
is.
tell you, first off, anything you do at all, any content you post online, any ads you do online should always lead to an opt-in form and getting the email address as soon as possible. In fact, that's like the first transaction that you'll have with your potential customers. Once you have their email, you now have the ability to contact them again and again and again until obviously they unsubscribe. And that is a tremendous advantage, because you don't know like when they're going to fall off your funnel. Because if anyone listening to this runs any ads, maybe someone who runs an agency that runs ads, you know that people, I mean, the ad conversions recently, just in the last year or so, have been atrocious, just absolutely disgusting. We spend over $250,000 a month on ads, all kinds, and the conversions are down across the board. If we weren't building an email list, I don't know what we would be doing. I honestly do not know. Um, so everything you do, always make a call to action to build a list. Now, the next thing, and this is probably the most common mistake that I see people make. Actually, most common mistake is they don't build a list. But the second most common mistake is they build a list and don't mail it. And I really mean it. Like they literally build a list and then for like a year, don't send a single email to the list. They don't have a constant, dedicated, disciplined routine around sending an email to their subscribers. And that's probably costing them a lot of money. So you need to be emailing your list every single day, and you need to have a reason to email them every single day. Now, another thing that I would highly recommend is that you don't just build a list, but also build a buyer list, or at the very least segment your list into different categories, such as interests, such as your relationship with them, right? So, people who, for example, if you've got a phone funnel, so you get their email, then you pitch them on the on an opportunity to talk to you on the phone. You should segment and separate people who opted in but did not claim a phone call, and people who opted in and claim a phone call, because those who claim the phone call are much more responsive and therefore most likely will convert better for you when it comes to sales. Another thing that I would highly recommend when it comes to email is to not try, just don't try to get fancy about like how you email them. Just write like you talk, literally just as the way you would say it on the phone, the way you would say it on your Facebook wall. Write your email like that, and you will get very good responses from your list. You'll see. Most people really kind of overthink it, and they're like, "Well, I'm not a writer. I'm not a marketer. I'm not a genius." Well, I mean, they attribute like qualities to people who can write emails. But the reality is you don't need to be. So just write like you talk, or at the very least, use ChatGPT. But I I would go as far as saying like don't use the whatever ChatGPT gives you like as is. At least go and modify it so it sounds like you.
Absolutely.
Because
If I could just
you can
interrupt.
usually tell.
Absolutely, man. If I could just interrupt here, um, I want to put myself in the shoes. Well, I'm going to put myself in my shoes early on in my marketer journey. And when I used to build an email list, I would scrape emails, right? And I don't want you to hang up on the phone out of nowhere. It's like, John, I'm done with you, and cut this episode abruptly here. I just want to use
Yeah,
myself as an
we're
example.
done, man.
I want to use myself as an example because I know I'm not the only one out there. But I would normally scrape a bunch of emails. I would then put them in some sort of email tool, and I would email them because I had an immediate urgency of either I got this urge to get appointments or urge to get a reaction from people to visit my page. I made some updates, and now I want them to visit a bunch to get some feedback. And I would send the email list out, and I would just continuously look at it and say, "There's nothing happening," and I would get discouraged. I'm like, all right, just maybe something's wrong, and I want to make some changes. That being said, I would also um, make it sometimes super like newsletter corporate like an advertisement. And then I would try to do like what I would see like on LinkedIn, some examples where they put some like as you talk, right? And now that I think about it, I probably didn't know my audience best. I didn't even have an audience. I just randomly emailed people. Could you tell me what else I could have done to be proactively better than just scraping the emails and expecting boatloads of money to come in? How would you have coached me then?
Yeah, well, first I would slap you, obviously, for doing something as silly as scraping emails. Come on, man, you know better. I've
This is
taught you better
before.
than that.
This is before back in the day. This is early beginner days, right?
How early?
Oh man, this is back like maybe, like 15 years ago when I first started, like, you try to get yourself out there.
Yeah.
I know I'm
Yeah,
not
I
the
remember
only
the
one
days
though.
when you could do that and you would actually get opens, but
Yes,
those
those
days
get
are over.
open. Those days are all over, man. So
Those
today,
days are over, yeah.
how does somebody like just in your short bullet points, how does somebody like aside from having a good offer, a good landing page, you mentioned type like it's talk and be consistent. And then you mentioned something about like, sorting people out. It sounds like a full-time job in essence. Like what's the beginning steps that you start to really build this list from scratch?
So let's start from the beginning. The first thing you should do is always build opt-in email lists. What this means is whoever's landing on your website needs to actually go and enter their email into a box to give you permission to mail them. This is always the best thing to do. I wouldn't go as far as doing double opt-in lists. I think that's a thing in the past, but I would definitely say don't just go scraping email addresses. I'm sorry, that
It's
just
all
doesn't
good.
work.
Yeah.
That just doesn't work. You will be very frustrated and
Could you share why it doesn't work? Could you share the
because they
psychological
just
experience?
don't know you from Adam. You're just randomly appearing in an inbox, and uh, they have no recollection of opting in. They have no recollection of who you are, why you're contacting them. Like I said earlier, email is a very personal space, and they're much more personal than your Facebook feed. That's for sure. So when someone they don't recognize appears in that space, well, they go to the spam, or at least get the emails get deleted. Not to mention that the spam filters get better every year, so yeah, like you eventually end up just your delivery rates will be in the dumpster, and there's no longevity in that at all. Um, some of the cold email marketers that I know who do that, by the way, they do it on a massive scale. So they'll like scrape 15 million emails, and they're looking for like 0.001% of response. But they do, that's a totally different business model that I don't recommend. Well, they have a practice of picking from names. Obviously, all the practice itself is illegal, so don't do it. But they choose they create names that sound familiar. Like they'll do something like Hillary Gates, Hillary Clinton, Bill Gates, or they'll do something like Barack Winfrey, Barack Obama, Oprah Winfrey. So like basically going after the familiarity factor because it kind of sounds familiar, but yeah, you definitely don't do that, man. Instead, you always build opt-in lists that are always going to be much more responsive, and they're always going to actually make you money because these people want to hear from you. They have a reason to hear from you. They've recognized your name from before, and eventually you want to get to a place where just having your name in the from box is enough for them to want to open it. As soon as you get to that point, I mean, you're on your way to make millions.
That's powerful. So thank you for that. And I just put myself out there in my early stages because, we might be trying to like work really hard, right, to build our from scratch, to leave our 9 to 5, to put ourselves out there, to put the work in, right? We hear these kinds of phrases: put the work in, hustle, go at it, go hard, nonstop. And sometimes we don't know what those actions really should be including. So thank you for the advice there. When it comes to building this opt-in, could you just kind of maybe give me your take? If I were to go on social media and I leverage social media, maybe in a group, maybe on my feed with my friends, and I say, hey, look, I'm putting together a beta on this new feature I'm adding to my software. Would love to know if any of you would like to take part in seeing a sneak peek. Visit the site, fill in your email that I can send you the invite, and we'll chat in a Zoom next week, right? Like something like that. Is that a good use? Is that how would you rate that as a first timer taking what you're saying and trying to put it into action?
Well, if you've got a Facebook group, what you want to do is you want to channel them to an email list with some sort of a reason to opt in. Getting on a Zoom call with you is a good enough reason to do that. Getting them on a webinar, giving them some sort of a downloadable item, maybe a video that you created that teaches them something they want to know. Maybe even a strategy session with you when they fill out an application with their details, that also is a reason to send them emails, at the very least, about the upcoming strategy session that you're going to be doing. But out of everything that I've done in terms of getting people to opt in, excluding selling my own products, that's probably the winner for me is going to be a webinar. So if you get them to opt in to a webinar, that's like a good lead.
Awesome, man. I appreciate that. And when you had shared like the Facebook group as well, like even here at High Level, we ask people to put their email in because we want to verify that they're users for certain groups. And some people will have different emails they use for different things. So we end up merging that. And there may be an email if you're doing these kind of private groups or private interactions. There's people, it's a weird way. People remember what they subscribe to. It's just like you said, it's familiar. And then I felt like when you had said before, people like spend more time getting agitated and frustrated around that you're trying to trick them, that they know you. Then that's where those weird, abrupt email replies come back to you. And that's never fun either. I mean, I saw a whole bunch come my way over the years of like fussing at me or saying you suck or whatever the case may be. I'm like, damn, what am I doing wrong? Like I'm doing what everyone else does to me. But I guess the missing part was, well, I subscribed to their email. And I remember when I did it. So thank you for all of that, man. And I know that people are going to have questions below. We have a handful of people engaging with us here now. Promise to get to you shortly here. We won't be able to get to all your questions, but at the very least, Igor will jump in the comments, whether you're tuning in on YouTube or Facebook or in one of our groups. So, Igor, if you're okay with this, I want to pivot into now. We got the email list. We have a good email list, whether it's 100, whether it's 500 or 1,000, whether they came from our opt-in, our webinar funnel, our Facebook group, our community, they remember us. Now that I send them the email, you said to send frequent emails, structured emails, and look for certain things with good call to actions. But there's this friend zone that kicks in, right? It's like breaking the friend zone. Can you talk about how you look at that, how you coach your mentees on that? And what does that really mean in that communication talk track?
Yeah, so friend zone is a term from dating. And somebody who failed at that spectacularly and married only the second or third girl I've ever dated because I was like so desperate to be like, no one's gonna want to date me, so I better like secure my mate here and now. Um, I can speak from experience when I say that being in the friend zone effing sucks. Um, and it sucks for many different reasons, but main reason is you obviously don't get laid. Now the problem with that is I used to think that the reason I'm in the friend zone is because the women kind of put me there because of my looks, because of my brain, because of my style or lack of it, because whatever, right? But the reality is that the reason girls put guys in the friend zone is because of the way guys behave themselves from the very moment they start communicating to the girls. In other words, every guy, no exception, gets like a I don't know, maybe a 3 to maybe 15 minute, maybe that's too generous, maybe a 3 to 5 minute window of opportunity where they can position themselves either as, okay, this is non-romantic partner material, aka friend zone, off you go, or this is like, okay, this guy, he expects, yeah, like things to develop, and at this point the woman can just basically say, okay, not my type, and let go, or okay, I'll pursue this. And the same exact thing happens with your email list and with every prospect slash customer slash visitor that comes across your marketing universe. I'm assuming you're at least thinking of building one or already have one. Your marketing universe involves your website, your content, your email list, your pages, your social media, everything is your marketing universe. Now, the thing about the friend zone, however, is that you can't really break it. I'll tell you a story real quick. So, this girl, I used to work at the Dead Sea. I used to be a busboy in Burger King. And this girl came to work in Burger King
By
as
the
a cashier.
way, with Burger King, my favorite is the chicken sandwich, number 9, with onion rings.
Duly noted.
Rotating between a little bit of orange Fanta or fruit punch. But it's funny you
Oh,
said that because I was going to go yesterday to Burger King to grab a bite to eat, and we're not sponsored by Burger King. We're not affiliated with Burger King. This is not a paid
yes.
advertisement. This is just what you had said.
Hey, Burger King execs, that's your opportunity right here.
But that's like my cheat meal, man. When I get a chance, my wife will yell at me, but I've gotten a gift card for it, and I still have it waiting to be used. So that's a nice little. We're going to talk afterwards, but thanks for sharing that.
Awesome. Well, I hope you reward yourself with some Burger King tonight. But back in the day, so here I am. By the way, just fun fact, I was working in the lowest Burger King on earth. This was the Burger King at the Dead Sea in Israel. Dead Sea, as you know, is the lowest point on Earth. It's minus 500 meters below sea level. So this girl, her name was Layla, I hope she's not dead. Her name is Layla. Beautiful girl, skinny, petite, smooth black hair. I think she was originally from Kazakhstan. Um, very, very good looking, very like feminine. And she came to work in the same Burger King um, as a cashier. And I'm in like the busboy next to the dishwasher, right? Um, and we got chatting. We were the only Russian-speaking people in the whole Burger King and the staff. So, you know, on the bus to work, on the bus back from work, we chat. And the thing is, I don't know any better, right? I'm like such an idiot. And I just try to be nice to her. And we chat about pop culture and we chat about this and that. And I don't make any moves. So a couple of weeks go by, I'm making no moves. And then finally, I work up the courage, drink some vodka, and like make a move. And naturally, I get rejected. I mean, what the hell was I thinking? But I now understand it's my fault because from the get-go, I did not position myself as a potential partner, a romantic partner. So I'm in the friend zone. Now, I quit Burger King. Not because of her. She actually left before I did, but you know, our paths, we went our own separate ways, as they say. And then about a year later, I bump into her and her mom at some office. It was either the post office or social security office, some sort of office. Literally bump into her and I was like, hey, and she's like, hey, what's up? And she's like, you know, like she's a little bit more open, more communicative. I was like, yeah, I'm good. She's like, what do you do? It's like, oh, I work here and this. And then, you know, after like a 2 minute exchange, because I know I'm in the friend zone, right? So why bother? She basically says, she's like, she looks me in the eye and says, call me, okay? What the hell just happened? Did I win the jackpot? And yeah, I did. Basically, I ended up calling her like a couple of days later. We hooked up, and I mean, it all went really well. But that taught me a big lesson. And the lesson is you can't break out of the friend zone unless you're willing to take a big break and then reappear at some point later. So you're sort of like resetting the whole thing. See what I mean? Now, unfortunately, we do not have that luxury with our email list. You can't just stop mailing people and then a year later mail them again and expect for them to know who you are. So we can't rely on that tactic. Instead, we must position ourselves in that relationship as an authority and somebody who sells something. And what's going to happen is the way you do it is by mailing them every day and pitching something in every email that you mail. Because if you don't, and you get them on your list, and you mail them for a week, not pitching anything at all, and or worse, giving them free stuff, it's like, hey, here's a freebie, here's a freebie, here's a freebie. You're creating conditioning. And when you finally decide to pitch them something, guess what's going to happen? They're going to be really upset with you. How dare you? You're supposed to give me free stuff, and now you're pitching. They will feel like you've misled them up until that point. So for that not to happen, be clear and honest and transparent about your intent. And the intent is you have something to sell, product or service or whatever, and you're proudly and loudly putting it forward. Now, it doesn't mean you can't give value in your emails. You certainly can, certainly should, but every email must contain a pitch. Now, there's a great way, and I think that kind of ties really nicely into the third thing we wanted to discuss. There's
But I
a
do have a
way.
quick question. I know you're about to get into the goods right now, And we got new people that are tuning in. I'm looking at the count. We got more than what we had when we started here. If you're just joining in right now, you got to catch up to the beginning, because the third bullet point we're about to get into in a few minutes here is built on the foundation of the first two. So just stop watching this point here and click the rewind button, because there's some goods there. But I wonder if I can here, Igor. I had a chance to kind of have you coach me in front of those that are brand new to the industry, maybe new to high level, maybe new to building an email list. I want to now put myself in the situation of a SaaSpreneur. And at high level, SaaSpreneur is somebody that has our feature SaaS mode on. It automatically creates accounts for them. They have either a white labeled or co-labeled, gray labeled business within high level. Some customize it so much that nobody even knows it's on high level. Others just leave it and they like the automation. But let's just pretend I'm that person right now, and I'm taking your advice. I have a list of subscribers that pay for my service now. I have people that have opted in for trials that I haven't engaged with consistently. They just never bought from me. What is the best way to take the ones that were trials and never engaged and re-engage with them? And how do I go about pitching them or positioning an irresistible offering to them, like you've given the guidance on, if I'm not used to it? Like, the reason why they're not a customer is because I'm not chasing them. My mind is, I'm not chasing these people. They either get it or not. Now I'm shifting that into, I need to be the facilitator on why I can help them with their business.
So if you've got a bunch of people they started the trial and then they dropped off, or they were pitched with the offer of starting a trial and then never started the trial, etc. It's very, it's going to sound very straightforward and very simple, very obvious, but pitch them again. As simple as that. You now have a list of people who were exposed to the offer but did not act. So you go and you pitch them again. You don't even have to change the offer. You literally just change the timing. And what I mean by that is, I kind of look at my email subscribers as strawberries. So I imagine I have a garden and it's full of strawberries. And some strawberries are green and some strawberries are red. And some are kind of black, so I throw them out. These are the bounces. So the red ones, they're ripe for now. And if I mail them an offer and they're ripe for now, they're buying the offer. They're just waiting for a reason to. They're waiting for an excuse. So I'll mail them and I'll give them a 10% coupon or something, and they're in. But the rest are still percolating. They're marinating. They're getting there. And for different industries, this might take, different amounts of time. For a software industry, that could be 3 months. For an information product, could be 2 months. For, a car dealership, could be 6 months to a year. Depends. But point being is that every so often, a portion of your email list is going to get to a point where they're ripe to take action. So even if they saw this offer before, you put it in front of them in a month, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, and you now stand a chance to collect some more of them. I have many friends who rerun the exact same offer, literally once a month, like clockwork. They don't even change the email. I have one guy who started out as a student but became a very close friend of mine in Canada. His name is David, and he's really good at pushing network marketing companies. Like, he's very good. At one point, he had a Herbalife downline paying him $13,000 a month. I mean, unheard of. So he's got this email that he sends out once a week. Once a week, without changing, to the same exact offer. And the email goes something like this, usually goes out on Sunday. I just came back from the church and found these blessings in my bank account. The email reads something like that. I just came back from church. We were today, Reverend spoke about this and that, and I just found that I've made XYZ dollars. Wow, this is a blessing. Thank you, God. And link to join his program. Like clockwork, once a week for the last 5 years. I mean, isn't that crazy?
It's
You
consistency, and the
very
consistency paid
consistent.
off. To your point with what you have shared with the Guardian, just the people started getting, just ready to go. And now that I'm thinking about this, so in this example, I have my list of those that became trials. Frequency wise, am I emailing them once a day, twice a day? And if you were just to give me a quick mentorship on this, what would maybe one or two messages be themed around? Again, my end goal is for them to pay me something so I could eventually get them into my community and put them with other paying happy customers.
So in this case, it comes down to you knowing your audience. Let's say they got on the trial and they canceled or they didn't continue after the trial. Now you probably know the top three reasons why people do that. I don't, but you probably have that information. So your emails would be addressing those objections in some way, shape, or form. Let's say, for example, I'm just kind of making this up. This is not, I don't have any data for this, but let's say they didn't continue on the trial because they didn't want to pay the monthly fee, because the monthly fee seemed to them like it's too high because competitor XYZ charges half the money, something like that. Well, you can actually address it head on. An email is a great way to address an objection. Just devote the entire email to this one objection. And, maybe the email could be titled something like, why competitor XYZ um, should not be compared to Go High Level, or isn't even in the same stratosphere or universe as Go High Level, or something like that. And then the email proceeds to do like a head-to-head feature comparison between competitor XYZ and Go High Level, and then also list the 20 different features that competitor XYZ doesn't even have, and then shows how existing members are using these features to build incredible businesses. So that directly addresses that one objection. The next email addressed the next objection. Maybe the next objection was, I would love to keep paying for Go High Level, but I just lost my biggest client and I can't afford it anymore because I was using the account for the client or something like that. In which case, a good idea would be to maybe tackle it with a bonus and say, well, you know what? Why don't you sign back up on Go High Level, and we will give you we'll get you on a 5-day workshop to take you from zero to your first client, or to take you from like one client to 10 clients or whatever.
Yeah.
So again, you are using the email as a means of addressing that objection head on.
And you would think it's obvious. You would think that this would be
Yeah.
obvious. You would think that this is common sense, right? But I think because you've been in the game in the business for a long time, we just put our hands deep in the sand. Our blinders are on. There's every other type of saying out there associated with it that we don't do the most obvious and maybe the 20% that gets us 80% forward because we think it's too good to be true. We think that that can't just be the answer. I have to work harder. I
You
have
know
to
why?
stress more.
Exactly. You're so right. It's because we were sold on this idea that to get great results, we need to do something groundbreaking and innovative. That we have to reinvent the wheel again. But that's not true. It's really not.
Yeah, man. And I want to get to now to this third one that I know it's near and dear to how you look at things. And it's the action item at the end of the day. It's what we've been building up to, which is the offer. And what is an offer? What's considered a resistible offer? And really, how do you hook them in, right? If you were to put five fishing rods, in the pond, what bait and what hook, what consistency, what angle, like what does that look like, right? And it's not just the bait or the rod, it's the strategy and the understanding of the why. Could you break down here as we start to wrap this up? How did somebody approach this from a beginner that's building their list based on what you've shared to an expert that's got a list that's now implementing what you're sharing into now taking action to the next level? I want to really make sure we hit both because that audience is a wide span that listens in.
Yeah, I think beginners will benefit from this way more because I think anyone who doesn't have a thriving business right now, um, it's only because they don't have a no-brainer offer for their target market that they can put in front of as many people as possible. I think to make your first $1 million, you need only one offer, and it just has to be a really good one. And that offer will be dictated by the market you chose. Now, we can't really, I don't know which market the listeners are going after, but whatever that market is, and market is only a group of people. So imagine just a bunch of people sitting in a room together, and they what kind of what they have in common is they have the same desires, the same fears, the same, oh, look at that, the same fears, the same enemies, the same suspicions, and the same concerns, I think. No, wait. So I don't know if you're familiar with this, but there's a thing called the 27 word persuasion course. It's a really short book by Blair Warren, a guy who studied cults and persuasion for a long, long time. And he concluded that all persuasion comes down to um, basically a 27-word statement. Okay? And the statement goes like this. I will read it to you right now. People will do anything for those who encourage their dreams, justify their failures, allay their fears, confirm their suspicions, and help them throw rocks at their enemies. So a market is basically a bunch of people who are all united in these five parameters: dreams, failures, fears, suspicions, and enemies. So your offer for that target market must then give the benefits, give the dream benefit, eliminate all the fears, all the suspicions, okay, and be presented in such a way that it basically feels like a no-brainer. Like, almost like they'd be dumb not to take you up on that offer. For example, back in the day when I started my agency for traffic generation, I kind of realized that there was a group of people out there who were frustrated network and affiliate marketers who really did not know how to get traffic, but the one thing they knew they needed was traffic. Kind of like people know that they need to get in shape, but they don't know how to get in shape. People know they need to lose weight, but they don't know how to lose weight, in the way that it works. So I just put together an offer for a market that was only 300 people big. 300 people, not even half a thousand, just 300 people. And it was a very small community. And for those people, I put an offer together, and I said, I'm going to drive traffic to your link. And I don't care if it's an affiliate link or a blog, I don't care what it is. And I'm only going to charge you 25 cents per click. And I'm going to guarantee that however many clicks you get from me, you will get at least that many or more. So if you came to me and you said, Igor, I need 200 clicks to my link, I'd say, okay, 25 cents a click, 200, that's $50. And I work to get you those clicks until I hit 200 or more. And later, I've even improved on that offer, and I said, if you want me to send traffic to your link and it's a capture page that's building your list, then if you let me take a look at it, maybe make some tweaks, I'll even commit to an opt-in rate. I'll commit to delivering at least 25, 30%, 40% opt-in rate for you as a guarantee. And if I can't, I'll keep sending you more traffic until I hit that number. So I had a hungry market that I knew wanted traffic. I had an offer which was irresistible. I'm going to drive traffic for you. You don't have to lift a finger. Just give me your link. I make it a no-brainer by saying I will guarantee and commit to a certain amount of traffic no matter what. And it's only 25 cents a click.
For someone that doesn't take you up on the offer, is that because they're not your ideal client? Because whatever, let's say they believe it's too good to be true. Let's say they don't it's overwhelming. Let's say that it's just they don't understand the value. Does that mean they're not really the ideal client anyway?
Not always, but often that's the case. Sometimes there are an ideal client, but they need to go and try other solutions and fail before they come back to you. In my case, it was very easy. It still is very easy because most people fail with paid traffic generation as well as free traffic generation. How many stories have you heard of people trying to build a blog or trying to build a social media following or trying to run ads only to crash and burn? And here I am saying, look, guaranteed solution right here, still available, you know? Um,
But also,
but
it could be your audience too. You may
could
not be
be.
sending it to the right audience.
Absolutely. You can have a great offer, but putting in front of a market that just doesn't want to buy from you. Like I've seen this many, many times where people really went out of their own way to create like really great offers, but the markets they chose just couldn't or wouldn't buy. For example, a guy who created with like a training program for employees that he wanted to sell to bosses, but the training was supposed to be delivered by the boss. That never succeeded because the boss doesn't want to deliver a training, right? I know a guy who created a course for children for basically teaching entrepreneurship, and the parents don't need to sit there with the child or anything like that. But the problem is, kids won't sit through like a 10-hour course, so all kinds of examples like that where people come up with great offers, but just for the wrong market or in a wrong format sometimes. And that, but that's not a fatality to speak in the lingo of Mortal Kombat, because you can always tweak your offer and you can make it better. You can always learn from the market not taking you up on your offer, tweak it and run again, tweak it and run again until you finally hit the jackpot. And this is truly one of the biggest lessons because you learn more from your failures than from successes. Like imagine the unlikely scenario of you launching an offer and having a blockbuster right away. You will have no idea why this is a blockbuster. But if you start off, you launch a product and it doesn't work, you launch another and it doesn't work, you launch another and it doesn't work, and then the fourth one works, you actually learned and made it happen. This is what happened with me. The first one I launched was an 80-page book on mindset, basically. It had a very creative title, How to Develop a Six-Figure Mindset in 30 Days. I didn't get a Pulitzer for that, but hey, what do they know? So I sold one unit for $27. The second one, I released an ebook training on how to use Twitter to get traffic. I sold two of those at $7 a pop. Now, the third one, though, it was a course, like a proper course on affiliate marketing, specifically on a strategy requiring to build a buyer list for affiliate promotions, which is a very good strategy if you're an affiliate marketer. And that one succeeded. First at $5, and then I raised the price to a whopping $7. And then the $7 kept selling, and then I raised it to $9.97, and then it kept going. Finally hit my plateau at $19.97, but then I created an upsell for $27 and another one or $60 or $57, and boy, did I make some money.
So it sounds, by the sound of this, you did a lot of A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, the rest of the alphabet testing. You did a lot of testing
I was just trying lots of different stuff. But the biggest thing to test is not your headline. That's what I'm trying to say. The biggest thing to test is your actual offer. If you're putting out an offer to a market and it's not converting, you change the offer. And offer is what? It's the components of the offer, all the different things they get as part of the package, but also the price, but also the guarantee. but also the positioning. For example, you could sell a training on how to use Twitter to generate clients, but you can also customize it, and you can, create a training for coaches and consultants on how to use Twitter to generate clients.
So in that
You
point,
could customize.
in that example there, Igor, let's say now the offer is the issue, and let's just say to play devil's advocate here that, well, no one, I don't use Twitter. I never got to use X, but I'm interested in threads. So maybe if the person writes the book around threads, the power of threads, how threads is bringing on the new age of marketers, how threads beats X, how you can grow your business on threads and make an offer around that, could that be also the problem that maybe you're positioning something that isn't as relevant or exciting to the audience, maybe to you, but not to the audience?
Yeah. So first off, let me Google what threads are. Is it
So,
like an Instagram thing?
hold on. So, yeah. So basically, and I came across this myself. Threads is the X version of it for Instagram, and there's a lot of people on, a lot of marketers actually.
Oh,
Yeah, bro.
okay.
We'll take this offline. But for those, if you're familiar with Threads, if you had a chance to jump on Threads, right? Look at Threads like TikTok was to Snapchat, right? The disruptor. But it took a while for that disruptor because the audience of, let's say, Snapchat wasn't as interested as the audience that was on TikTok or Vine at the time, right? So these evolutions kick in. So I guess the point I want to, the question I'm asking for you to clarify is, it's not just the offer you think is good, it's the offer that the market is in demand for, and the education or the service that's relative to what's hot or what's beneficial. Is that fair?
That is fair. The market will always tell you what it wants by not buying what it doesn't want. So, in other words, the market always votes with its wallet.
Ooh.
So, don't you ever go. I see people do this all the time. They go on their Facebook wall and they're like, if I were to release a training program on
Yeah.
Threads, would you buy it for $7?
Yeah.
And they get crazy amounts of likes, and they're just like, hell yeah, I'm in. Yes, send me, DM me. But that's not the same. That's not market research. You actually have to release the program and then see if people buy it. That's how you know.
We
So
could go
if I were
on and on
to,
about this, man. And we gotta find out how we get a master class of this going. The last thing I want to do here is you realize you got to jump on a meeting and you have to abruptly jump off on this. But I do want to just, if we can just make sure that the audience is getting the best value, because I forgot we're even live right now. I forgot that we even have people tuning in because I'm learning as we go here too. And that's the most amazing part of having the opportunity to meet folks like you and others, that my perspective does shift a bit over time because I'm like, wow, I've been doing things what I'm comfortable with. When in reality, it's the uncomfortable I need to be doing. It's
it's
the
the
stuff that
classic
I'm not doing.
my cheese.
Yeah, so crazy. So if someone's tuning in a few minutes before I just said that, and there's three things they need to know about crafting the irresistible offer, could you give it to me straight so they could take action so no one's got an excuse? They got the value. What are three things to create that offer and to get that list email sent out?
First is the market. The success of your offer depends on whether the market you're choosing wants to buy stuff in that niche and whether they have the money and the means and the desire to do so. So by picking the right market, you then go select the product to sell within that market. For instance, you pick weight loss market, but within it, you choose whether it's going to be a supplement, whether it's going to be a diet book, whether it's going to be, some clothing, some machine, whatever. You basically go by that. Start from market, then go for product. And then once you've decided on the product, what I would recommend is go and research the top 3 to 5 best sellers in the game of that particular product type. Find out how they sell it. Do they sell it at a certain price? Do they package it in a certain way? Do all of their websites talk about any particular thing, and do they all sort of kind of sound the same? If that's the case, whatever is similar between all of these, that's what you model or ethically steal or borrow, but with your own flavor, of course. Don't just blatantly copy and paste. And that's how you would go and start testing your product. If you have a groundbreaking product that is absolutely brand new and you've just invented it, then good luck, because the road to success is paved with bodies of pioneers with arrows in their backs, as Dan Kennedy likes to say. I've never been one of them, never been a pioneer for sure. So I've only always wanted to go for proven things, things that are proven to sell, which is why you always start with the market that exists, that has money gushing in it, where people run ads all the time, where there's activity, where there's offers. And then once you've done that, you can give this market what it wants by packaging it, deciding on your packaging. So what is packaging? Could be a software, could be a coaching program, could be information, could be supplement, could be seminar, physical seminar room, could be one-on-one consulting, could be done for you service, done with you service, could be any number of things. So you package it in the way that the market wants to receive it. For instance, there is a market for courses on how to run Facebook ads, but there's also a market for people or companies who don't want to run the ads. They want someone to run the ad. So they are not interested in learning about how to do it. They just want someone to do it. Different markets, different packaging, although both are about like Facebook ads, right? But still different positioning and therefore sold differently.
And thank you for going in depth on that, because it's so important that we understand like the difference between one audience to another, how to speak to them, as well as the power of repackaging, and adding your flavor, your uniqueness, your offer, your bonuses to something that's already working. And the problem I think that a lot of people make is sometimes they want to be the pioneer because they believe that is the only way. They're afraid of complementing maybe what they've seen, or they're afraid of that they might get in trouble for competing with or repackaging something. And there's the right way to do it. Definitely do your research, right? Like you mentioned, plagiarism, copyright infringement, trademark infringement. Those are not the way to go about it, but there's a nice way to make an alternative positioning statement. There's a nice way to say, if you use this, you'll love this. And those transition statements that I think over time you'll learn, but unless you know to look for it, you don't really look.
Look, at the very least, you can go into an existing market. If you don't want to directly compete with everybody else, you can pick the one frustration that people have in that market that no one else is addressing, and just go for that. You will be going for a narrower part of the market, but a much more aware part of the market, and you can put your foot in the door that way. That's what I did with my agency, where I went for a highly aware, traffic generation buyer. I definitely was like in a very narrow space. Like I said, only 300 people, but that alone was enough to put me on the map. Later, I expanded, right? And in the course of your business, you can go from narrow to wide back to narrow. But, to start off, it's very easy to just pick an enemy, if you will. Pick a big problem that the market is complaining about all the time. Just talk to 5 people in that market. They will all mention the same problem and figure out a way to address that problem.
Yeah, foot in the door is a great way to kind of sum this up. And it doesn't start unless you have a message. So Igor, thank you so much for just really spending some time with us here, going in depth, taking some of the questions and really breaking them down into actionable items. I think that's where our audience really appreciates these the most, whether they're listening to this while at the gym, on the treadmill, on a long drive, out on the beach, enjoying their vacation. They're consuming this, and we appreciate their ears for that. For those of you that have had a chance to watch this from the beginning or hear from the beginning, thank you. You already know how I feel right now about Igor Kheifets. Definitely one of the email marketing wizards, the list building wizards that are out there. I'm giving you some action items so you could do the same. He claims not to be a pioneer, but he definitely has taken what's worked and made it his to inspire others. So if you're watching the replay, comment below. If you're watching this and listening to it live, share your takeaway, whether it's on Spotify, Apple, YouTube, Facebook. Let us know your feedback and what you took away, and get out of the friend zone. We gave you everything you need to make an irresistible offer to get the heck out of the friend zone. Igor, you got something for the audience. Do you mind sharing what that is and how they go about claiming it?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for the opportunity for inviting me. And to the listeners, I have something. I want to send you a free copy of my book, List Building Lifestyle Confessions of an Email Millionaire. Kind of tells you how to build your list and what to do, what not to do, and all sorts of cool stuff. The book is available on sale on Amazon. However, if you get it on Amazon, Amazon will not share your email address with me, so we can't be friends. And therefore, I invite you to go to igorsbook.com and claim a free copy of the book. And I just ask you to chip in on shipping and handling. So what I'll do, I'll print it for free and I'll ship it to you to your doorstep. In addition, I will give you instantly an audio version of the book, a digital version of the book, several courses showing you how to build your list, as well as my traffic generation secret as in form of a training. So all that is a $3,200 bonus package that you get with your book immediately while you wait for the book to arrive in the mail. And this is my way of like ethically bribing you to go get the book at igorsbook.com and not on Amazon, where, you know, obviously it's available, because I want you on my list. That's, I mean, I practice what I preach. So, plus, when you go through the process of getting the book from me and getting on my list, you'll also get to witness how I do what I do. And that's a great, actually, a great way to spy on me, great way to study me, and great way to model after the things that, you know, maybe you like, or how I do my things, so you can ethically borrow the same techniques for yourself.
Well, look, y'all, if we had more time, we would spend it here. Remember, your email list is the gold mine of opportunities. You got to take action. You heard it from Igor himself. Replay, transcribe, do what you got to do, but now it's up to you. Look, this is JB signing off. Igor, any last quick words before we jump off?
Yes, build your list if you're not building it yet. It's kind of like that old Chinese proverb, when's the best time to plant a tree? 10 years ago, the next best time is now. And if you're already building a list, please email your list more often, because I can guarantee that you're like, you know, mailing it maybe once a week. So email your list more often starting today.
Thank you guys so much. Igor, let's get out of here, man. We got things to do, right? See you guys. Take care.